I am not exaggerating when I say that skills are the most important thing that you need to master. It doesn't matter if you are on the web app or if you're on the desktop app or if you're in the terminal using the CLI. This is a universal feature that almost every AI company is implementing into their own app. I myself have built over 30 skills, and today I will show you how they work, what they are, and how to build your own. Now, I myself use skills daily, multiple times a day, for not only creating content, for running my business, for scraping data, anything, for script writing, brainstorming, coding. Skills cover all fields. And once this clicks for you, I am 100% certain that you will not stop using them. So, what are skills? Well, in its most basic essence, a skill is just a folder with a markdown file inside of it. So just a text file. As you can see here, it's a little bit specially formatted. It has a name, it has a description, and another argument hint. Then you can have some nested folders with, for example, guidelines. So for example, here I have my write as Ole skill. So this skill writes in my voice. And you can see it has a role, it has some instructions here, like how to actually write as me. But we also have a nested folders with guidelines on, for example, how it should write on Facebook, on LinkedIn, School, and X. So in its most basic form, this is all a skill really is. It's just a folder with some markdown files. Now, you don't only have to have text files in these folders. You can have, for example, Python files, which runs a script which scrapes a website. So this is a skill which calls scraping, which scrapes a website. And of course, it needs a Python script to do that. So you see examples of where these skills actually are. Here I'm in the web app, and you can find these skills under Customize if you go to your settings. Then you go to capabilities. Then you can find the skills down here. The same in the desktop app, you can find them there also. And finally, in the terminal UI, you can of course see them here as well, if you just type /skills. Now, probably the best thing about skills is the progressive disclosure they use. So at the start of a new session or a new conversation in your web app or in the CLI or whatever, only the description and the name of the skill gets fed into the context of the AI model. So how this looks like in practice is that you can see my skill.md for scrape here, for example. Then only this and this, so this description and the name gets fed into the context of the model at the start of the conversation. And as you can see, this is not a lot of tokens. Having a lot of skills does not bloat your entire context window. So what happens instead is that the AI model sees the description and the name of the skill in its context, and then it can decide later on, if we're talking about scraping some website, that it should probably call this skill. And what happens then is the actual body of the skill gets fed into the context window. So that's when the actual body, like the actual skill itself, gets fed into the context window, because then the model needs this information to be able to perform this. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, let's take my write as Ole skill for an example. So I have this skill in my root, which means it's available across all my projects in my computer. But of course, this works on the web app and such. Of course, you can just upload the skill there. So let's see. Let me type, write a blog post about Claude Code Skills on LinkedIn for me. So let's see what it does. So it automatically loaded this write as Ole skill as we predicted, because it noticed that it's about to write something in my voice. And now, of course, it's going out to search for more information about skills specifically. Of course, surely it wouldn't just hallucinate up everything. So it's actually using something called QMD, which is something to semantically search across a lot of nodes, basically. I have a full post about it on my school. If you want to go check it out, it's in the description. But so it's searching for Claude Code Skills, and let's see when it's finished, how it looks. And here it is, it finished, and it wrote a blog post in my voice, and it sounds very good, so that's nice. No M dashes to be seen, you know. So yeah, this is how skills work in practice. So as a very first step, in order to make your skill creation journey as robust as possible, I would highly recommend going through Anthropic's Skills, this GitHub repo right here, which I will link below in the description, and following their installation instructions to install the marketplace. And from this marketplace, you can get the skill creator skill. Now, this will just help you create, correctly formatted skills. Claude can usually create them without the skill creator skill, but this just makes it, so it does it well. Then I don't think you should have you don't have to have in your head all the things that you should be creating into skills. I think this will come just naturally to you as you're using these tools. Oh, I find myself, for example, if I tell Claude, write this email for me, it keeps not writing it in my voice. It keeps using these weird terms and such. Oh, maybe I should create a email draft skill, So anything you find yourself doing more than once, that is a skill. Now, if you want some quick inspiration, you can take a look at my skills here. So for example, I have a Claude.md skill, which updates the Claude.md with, new updates. If I refactor anything, it updates the Claude.md, which of course is the permanent context of the project. I have a crawl skill, which crawls websites, a /daily skill, which is, refreshes my to-dos and such in my Obsidian Vault. I have a deep research skill, which I use a lot, actually. So this just basically breaks web research into 3 to 5 parallel agents. So you get, more thorough research. Of course, we have the kind of famous front-end design skill, which makes so good front-end designs. We have scrapes a website stealthily. I have sync TikTok, which basically scrapes my TikTok page and basically gets all these stats and the transcript and put them in my vault. Then of course I created actually a voice cloning skill, which basically can clone any voice on the internet. I got this inspiration from someone on X. It looked pretty cool, so I created my own. So it basically just extracts the DNA of the person and the text you're giving it. Yeah, then I have doing X research using the X API. And yeah, this is just scratching the surface. There should be literally infinite skills out there. You should create your own. Share them in my community if you create some cool skill, And if you want my skills specifically, then you should head to my school community, which is down in the description. I share my skills pretty regularly on there, so go check it out. Now, if you want to get started with specifically Claude Code, then you should head over to my other video. I just uploaded a video on how to install Claude Code from scratch. And after that, you should watch my Claude.md video, which is basically the next step. It tells you everything you need to know about the most important file in all of Claude Code. See you later.